Welcome, friends. I am Dr. V.K. Chauhan, homeopathic physician. Revise with me homeopathic remedy Pulsatilla nigricans. We are dealing here with Part A-B MCQ review, and this is good for UPSC, PSC, and MD aspirants. The main reference is taken up from Allen's keynote. However, the second book we have preferred is Boric Materia Medica. These MCQs are not the part of UPSC and MD examination, but these are fresh MCQs for practice purposes. So, first MCQ is the Pulsatilla patient has fear of A. Being alone, B. Darkness, C. Opposite sex, and D is all of above. The answer is D, all of above, and on recall, we get the information under mind section of Pulsatilla where we find fears in evening to be alone and darkness. There is a morbid fear or dread of the opposite sex. This information is coming from Boric Materia Medica. The MCQ 2 is Pulsatilla patient is A. Mild, gentle, yielding, B. Sad, crying readily, C. Changeable, contradictory, and D is for all of above. The answer is D, and let us see the reference. It is under Pulsatilla, and we find female remedy, especially for mild, gentle yielding disposition, sad, crying readily, weeps when talking, and changeable contradictory information again coming from Boric Materia Medica. MCQ 3. It tells us Pulsatilla patient gives history of not well since A. Puberty, B. Menopause, C stands for abortion, and D tells us for because of burns. And the answer is A. Puberty. We go for the information under Pulsatilla. The first serious impairment of health is referred to pubertic age, and this is the age acts as a exciting cause or ailment from, and information is coming from Allen's keynote. MCQ 4. It tells us the character of mucus secretions, especially in case of Pulsatilla patient, are A. Acrid, B stands for thick, bland, yellowish green, C stands for sticky, viscid, tenacious, and D stands for none of above. The answer is B. Thick, bland, yellowish green, and let us see the reference. It is coming from under Pulsatilla. Secretions from all mucous membranes are thick, bland, and yellowish green. Allen's keynote is the reference work here. MCQ 5. It tells us the thick, bland, and yellowish green mucus secretions is characteristics of A. Pulsatilla, B. Kali sulf, C. Natrum sulf, and D is all of above. And the answer is D, all of above. And this information is thick, bland, yellowish green secretions are present. In bracket, we can see Kali sulf and Natrum sulf. So the reference has been coming from Allen's keynote. MCQ 6. It tells us thirst of pulsatilla patient is characterized by A. Intensely thirsty. B. Is thirstless with dryness of mouth. And C is drinks large quantities of water at long intervals. And D is drinks small quantities of water at small intervals. And the answer is B, thirstless with dryness of mouth. The reference is coming under pulsatilla, thirstless, thirstlessness with nearly all complaints, and great dryness of mouth in the morning, and it is given in Allen's keynote. The next MCQ is seventh. The pulsatilla toothache is ameliorated by variable A holding cold water in mouth, variable B holding hot water in mouth, and variable C is holding mouth open and drawing in air. And D stands for none of the above, and the answer is A. And reference to this effect we see to take relieved by holding cold water in mouth. Similar remedies bryonia, coffea. Reference is Allen's keynote. MCQ 8. The pulsatilla develops amenorrhea or suppressed menses after A. Getting feet wet, B. Grief, C. Indignation, and D tells all of above. Answer is A. Getting feet wet. And let us go for recall. Pulsatilla derangement at puberty, menses suppressed from getting feet wet. This information is coming from Allen's keynote. Friends, let us go to the MCQ 9, and it tells us the pulsatilla patient sleeps in a position of A. Curled up like a dog, B. Hands above the head, C. Assumes strange postures in bed, and D is none of above. The answer is B. And let us go to the recall under pulsatilla. And here we find that lies with hands above head. And in sleep section, we also find sleeps with hands over head. And reference is coming from Boric Materia Medica. The MCQ number 10, it tells us often pulsatilla is indicated if there is a history of abuse of A. Iron tonics, B. Purgatives, C. Aspirin, D. All of above. And the answer is A. Iron tonics. Let us see the reference. Patient anemic or chlorotic who have taken much iron, quinine and tonics even years before. And also we find ailments from abuse of chamomile, quinine, mercury, tea drinking and sulfur. And the answer A appears to be a correct choice. Reference as we see is Allen's keynote. The MCQ 11. The pulsatilla patient has the characteristics as A. Changeability of symptoms, B. Pain, drawing, tearing, rapidly shifting, C. Nervous intensity intensely felt about the ankles, and D is for all of above. And the answer is D, all of above. Let us recall pulsatilla symptoms ever changing, no two chills, no two stools, no two attacks are alike, pains, drawing, tearing, erratic, rapidly shifting from one part to another, and there is nervousness intensely felt about the ankles, and the information is coming from Allen's keynote. MCQ 12. Pulsatilla patient is aggravated by following food: A. Bread, butter, and onion. B is cheese. C is garlic. And D is vinegar. Answer is A. Bread, butter, and onions. Let us see the reference. We find generalities: food, bread, and butter aggravates. 3 plus symptom is present. Generalities: food, onions aggravate. It is a 2 plus symptom. And generalities: food, vinegar ameliorates. So we find under reverse Kent repertory the variable A to be a correct choice. MCQ 13. General aggravation of the pulsatilla is by A. Increase and decrease with the sun, B. From sunrise to sunset, and C. From sunset to sunrise, and D stands for twilight, and the answer is D, twilight. Let us go to the recall under pulsatilla aggravation. Evening at twilight, which is highlighted here, is given in Allen's keynote. So our choice D, twilight, is a correct choice. MCQ 14. Pulsatilla patient feels better at seashore, B in open air, C in closed room, and D in windy, stormy weather. The answer is B in open air. Let us recall under pulsatilla amelioration in the open air, which is highlighted here, is given in Allen's keynote. So let us go to the MCQ 15. The chronic of pulsatilla in almost all the complaints is A. Calcarea carb, B. Lycopodium, C. Silesia, and D is Dulcamara. And the answer is C. Silesia. Let us recall under pulsatilla in relationship we find Silesia is the chronic of pulsatilla in nearly all the complaints. The information is coming from Allen's keynote. So friends, thanks. Thank you very much for patient listening.